Dap-a-doo, dap-a-doo. Two white guys in a wheelchair.
Alrighty.
All right.
Here we go.
Jump into it.
Logan Smith, Smitty, how you doing?
Good, good. How are you guys?
Good. Welcome to the show. Happy to have you on.
Stoked to be here, boys. I'm fired up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pumped. I'm super pumped. I'm excited. We haven't done this in a little bit, so it's nice to get back into it.
How long has
Awesome.
it been now?
I don't know, a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys had Gianni on recently?
We did.
Yeah,
We
he was
did.
our last guy.
Gianni was our previous guest, who is the big fisherman,
The Italian Stallion.
the Italian stallion.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he was really good. Yep.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
I
that
hope
was
I can
awesome.
live up to it.
I think
Yeah.
you will.
I think you will as well too. How are you connected with Gianni?
So Gianni and I, we went to high school together. So we met. He was one of my first buddies I made when I moved out to Cochrane High School. We played football together, and got into a little bit of trouble as youngsters. So we've always been close, and he's an awesome dude, like freaking phenomenal guy, super nice, super funny, and literally like not a bad bone in his body. So when I heard you guys might be moving in together, I was fired up. I was like, that's the two nicest people I know.
I'm super excited.
It's gonna be a good fit for you guys.
I think it's gonna be really fun.
Yeah, you guys are gonna have a great time.
Yeah.
Eric's gonna get into fishing more.
Oh yeah,
I remember we did go out once and I fell asleep. not because I don't like fishing. I was just like, I don't know, gassed from the day or something.
chilling
like
on the
that.
banks, just
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
peaceful, right?
So peaceful.
Just take a little nature nap.
Exactly.
Yeah, you just need a big sun hat or something.
Yeah.
Keep the sun off
I
you.
think I got a little burnt today, actually.
I got a lot of
It's
sun.
easy, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With our northern complexion,
Exactly.
Well, I'm Italian as well too, so I got the olive
You-
skin.
yeah,
I get
yeah,
the tan.
you-
I tan up quite quick.
You can turn dark.
Yeah.
I
Pretty quick.
freckle quite easily.
I think it used to be a thing that Italians weren't white people. They were their own thing.
Oh yeah, man. It was nice getting into the controversy right off the bat. Let's go.
Can't stop me.
Yeah. No, I went to a thing with my grandparents at the there's like an Italian club.
Yeah, the Italian club.
Yeah. And so there was a talk, and she was talking about Italian immigrants in like coming to Canada.
Yeah.
And so actually most of the Italian immigrants that came were in the before the First World War, because my grandparents, they came after the Second World War.
Yeah.
But the majority of like immigrants into Canada and and America came before the First World War, and a lot of it had to do with the railroad building.
Totally.
So
I think there's a kind of an association with Italians, whether they're like hard workers and they were the concrete guys and they were the railroad guys that kind of built a lot of infrastructure in North America in the 20s and 30s.
Yeah. So, and then I don't know if your guys' school talked about this, but a lot of it focuses on like Chinese and Asian workers building the railroads as well too. So in this talk that I went to, the lady was saying that like of that worker population, like 20 to 30% were Italians as well too. So
Crazy.
like that was a big kind of like ethnic faction in that kind of like worker group kind of thing. So and then as well too, like a lot anyways, I could go on for a long time about that, but maybe we'll get back into that. So how do you two know each other?
We met in first year university.
Mount Royal.
Yeah, the old MRU days.
Yeah. Those were good times.
Hitting the gym,
Hitting
the clubs,
the b-ball courts.
Yeah, getting into as much trouble as we could as young men.
So I had like 3,000 photos on my phone or something stupid like that. So I was deleting a ton of them.
Yeah,
And I found one of us at, I don't know what it's called now. It used to be called the back alley.
Marquee. Maybe
With
that's what it's called
was
now.
it with
It might
the
be different.
with the gray cup?
Oh yeah, we were there one night for I think it was a DJ Jazzy Jeff concert.
It was.
Yeah, and he killed it. Jazzy Jeff was sick, spinning records up on stage.
It was
Like
really fun.
you can go to an EDM show now and someone's just like pushing a button or kind of
Yeah.
putting on a show. He's like literally mixing tracks live in front of you, like flipping records and putting it together. It was a sick show. And then we turn around and the Stampeders had won the Grey Cup that year.
Yeah.
And I think one of the offensive linemen had brought it down to Marquee.
To the club.
So we got to have sips out of the Grey Cup while we watched DJ Jazzy Jeff. It was a good night.
It was a good night. I was like, what is going on? Like,
That's hilarious. I remember you showing me. I remember seeing that photo.
yeah.
Probably around the time that you took it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
It was, wild times.
Yeah.
They were a good team for a while there.
Yeah.
Stamps.
They're always pretty consistent.
They are,
Like,
yeah,
with Huffnagel at the helm, they've always been like a pretty decent team. Offensively, they're always solid. It's just
I know they're.
I'm a sucker for the CFL. I know lots of people don't love it, but I'm a CFL diehard. I get into arguments all the time.
Yeah. How do you think they're gonna fare this year? The Stamps.
We'll see. I think they got a young core coming up. Lots of names that I didn't recognize last year. Like when I would go to Stamps games as a teenager, you would know everybody, like Henry Burris or Joffrey Reynolds or Nick Lewis, like some sick players back in the day. But the roster now, it's a little bit younger, and I think they're going to do well. But the CFL is just it's an awesome league. It's like a beautiful Canadian thing.
Yeah, more passing.
Our
Yes,
Way more passing.
open field.
yeah,
Yeah,
buddy of ours, his brother just got drafted.
Yeah,
Brian.
yeah.
shit,
He got drafted to the Ottawa Red Blacks.
that's sweet.
Yeah, he was playing at Santa Fe. I think.
Alex Fachoon, up and comer.
yeah,
Keep
Alex
your eyes
Fachoon.
on him, people. Keep your eyes peeled.
That's sweet.
I'm optimistic for him. He is a menace.
Yeah, he's a beast. He's a defensive lineman. Yeah,
I think so.
yeah, I think so as well too.
Yeah, it's cool to see that for guys like our age, right? I mean, when I was a kid, it would be like a dream to get drafted, right? And now you can actually see some of your buddies do it, or they're playing, junior hockey somewhere, or WHL hockey or something like that. It's just it's awesome to see.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, go you.
Yeah. So Rick and I met first year uni through one of our
2014.
a mutual friend that I was introduced to on like the first day of school. His name is Logan Kane.
Yeah, I know.
Logan Kane.
I went to high school with him as well too. Yeah,
Kaner's killer dude.
Yeah.
So we were all at school together, just ended up hanging out, becoming good friends, and here we are now.
the rest is history.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's crazy when you look back and you're like, holy shit, that was like 7 years ago.
7 or 8 years ago.
8 years ago coming up.
Yeah, time just freaking starts to fly when you're an adult.
Yeah.
I think like summer break when you're a kid in junior high or elementary school,
It's forever.
Literally like doesn't end.
Yeah.
And now I'm thinking like, okay, we're at the start of May, got 4 months of like really nice weather. 4 months ago was like January. Yeah, fucking an instant, man. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
wild.
It's it's crazy. That's one of the theories I like is kind of like your as you get older, 1 year is
smaller.
Is a smaller amount of time of your total fraction of life. So for me, I'm 27, so 1 year is 1/27th of my life. So it feels like it feels quicker, and then next year it's going to be 1/28th, so it's going to be an even smaller time.
Seriously.
Yeah.
So it goes speeds up. But
Those 70-year-olds, man.
Yeah,
It's
like
flying by.
it's like weeks. But I have this other thing, and it's kind of like combats that quickness a little bit, where I heard this thing where your mind remembers things in moments. It doesn't really comprehend
We don't really have a
like
mechanism
time,
for time.
right? Like
Yeah.
it does. Like 1 hour is gonna. So 1 hour of you just like sitting here and us just staring at each other
Yeah.
is gonna feel the same as 1 hour, or is gonna that's gonna feel different than the 1 hour we have and we talk about a bunch of different stuff.
Oh yeah.
yeah, and
Your perception of time can be
yeah.
super different, right?
Yeah.
You go see a great movie and you're like really into it. It can be like a 3-hour long movie and it feels like it went by in 45 minutes.
Yeah.
'Cause you're engaged. The story's awesome. Have you guys ever tried meditating?
Yeah.
It's hard and it sucks, but it's awesome. Like it's really
Yeah.
good for
Yeah.
you. But sit there for like a minute or 2 minutes without any stimulation and try and like focus on a single thing. Time feels like fucking an eternity.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can slow it down and like life will speed it up for you. I think when you can be like in an emotional time in your life and feels like months go by really quickly. You can be like at a good point in your life and you're just chilling and time is slow. But yeah, like you were saying, we don't have a good mechanism for measuring things accurately. And our brains do that with like lots of things, whether it's like inundation of information where we just assume we know lots of things, when in reality, most of us are pretty, not dumb, but pretty simple dudes, right?
You're talking to one right here.
Yeah, I like to think I'm smart, but like, do I know how this is getting recorded? Like, no, not really.
The general idea, but not really.
Yeah, that's funny. How's the coffee?
It's good. You want a sip?
Yes, please.
Okay. All right, Logan, tell us something cool while Eric takes a sip of coffee.
Something cool. My roommate just got a puppy, so that's super exciting. She's a little Mexican rescue dog. We don't know the exact breed. I think she came from a kennel, but it was 2 rescue dogs that had that made her. So the actual linear breed we have no clue of.
Yeah.
But she's this like 8-pound feisty little puppy right now, and she is like the most exciting thing in my life. She's so cute.
She's awesome. Like, we were on FaceTime yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
And I got to meet her a little bit, and she just looks like just a ball of energy, and she's adorable.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's
She
like,
looks like she has a bit of pit bull in her, for sure.
could be like a bit of pit bull, or like maybe like retriever or something like that. Some kind of like hound. And yeah.
So you have no idea how big she's gonna get, though.
No,
Really? Yeah,
no.
maybe.
I think maybe like 20 or 30 pounds, but she honestly might stay small.
Yeah, it's tough to say. What rescue did you get her from?
My roommate hooked it up. The company that he works for, the owner of the company, his mother goes down to Mexico and works with rescue dogs down there.
Okay.
And
Nice.
she's like, "Hey, we have one. Do you know anybody who wants a home?" And
I do.
yeah, Wyatt and I, like, we work, but for the most part, like, we don't really have huge commitments other than that. So he'll take the puppy to work, and
Nice.
it's awesome to have a dog in the house.
That's awesome. Yeah, my girlfriend and I last year we adopted a little wiener dog who was but also from Mexico City originally, and I can't remember the exact kind of origin how she ended up, but she was somehow going to Canada. She was being brought to Canada in Vancouver, and then that rescue was connected to the one in Calgary.
Okay.
And then so we're just like, oh yeah, we'll apply for her. But the sad part was we actually applied to a different dog.
Yeah.
And we were just going to foster her. And it was a dachshund. Both of them were dachshunds.
Yeah.
Or dachshunds, or however you want to say it.
Yeah.
So wiener dog, right?
Badger killers.
Badger killers, exactly. And we applied for this other dog. Man, I feel bad because I can't remember her name.
We loved her so much.
We loved her
wanted
so much.
so
We
bad,
don't,
but I don't know her name.
Oh man, that's gonna eat me up. But anyways, so we applied for her, and then the day before we were supposed to like go and meet her at the airport, right?
Yeah.
The day before we were supposed to do that, we get a call. She passed away.
Oh,
Like
no.
en route in travel. And so that was like pretty upsetting.
Yeah, that's tough, man.
So we kind of like paused our search for a dog after that for a little bit, where it's like, oh fuck. And then I think a week or two later, the same rescue called and was like, oh, like there's this other dachshund who was being fostered who that person, like they have, because like for dachshunds, you're not supposed to have too many stairs in your house, or if you have stairs,
Sure.
You're kind of supposed to regulate them, because they have a 1 in 4 chance of developing this, like, I think it's intervertebral disc disease.
Sure.
Probably
Super
butchering
short
that.
legs, right?
Super short legs, but it's with their spine.
Yeah. Could probably like bends them when they try and get up the
exactly.
stairs.
So that can like paralyze them. So it's 1 in 4 chance that a dachshund like will experience that. And so to avoid that, you're supposed to kind of keep them parallel to the floor, right? like don't have them going like on weird angles and stuff like that. So our apartment is like all one floor. There's no stairs or
hill
anything.
sprints
Like
for the dachshunds.
no hill sprints for the dachshund. And this person who was fostering, they had quite a few stairs, and so they're like, I don't think this is the best fit. She like, you could tell this person like really loved this dog, She was really nice, really awesome. And so Nina and I went and to go and visit the dog, and then it was a good fit. So we're like, okay, yeah, we'll adopt her.
Little
So
Violet.
we've had her for about a year, and it's been really awesome. She's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah. And so what's your pup's name?
Lupe.
Lupe.
Yeah,
I like it.
Went with the Mexican theme. I hope it's not cultural appropriation.
Yeah.
I don't. It's all good.
Does she respond to Spanish? Or I guess she's
that's what I was just gonna say. If you have one from Mexico as well, I don't think she does. She's only like 7 weeks old now.
Yeah.
So she's like she responds to Lupe because we've been like hammering that in her head for the last week.
Yeah.
And she seems to know like yes and no and like follow. Would it be really funny if we're like trying to teach a dog commands and in her head she's like, no, sí, I don't know.
Yeah. Hablas inglés.
Yeah, exactly. Muy rápido, muy rápido.
Yeah, I could see it. I could see it more with my dog, like where she's
it has a little bit more time to actually like grow up and learn something that way.
Yeah.
And who even knows if dogs think in language, right? Yeah. Fun to give them human attributes.
Yeah,
for sure.
100%. That's the fun of dogs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Ricky, did you ever have a dog growing up?
Never had a dog.
Damn, because you're a big dog guy.
I love dogs.
Yeah, you light up whenever you see a dog.
I fucking love dogs. Like we came close to getting one once, Bartholomew, because my aunt.
What a
name.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Jinx, we're on the same wavelength.
My aunt up in Larange, up in northern Saskatchewan, she runs NARF, or she's like a big part of it, Northern Animal Rescue Foundation.
Cool.
And they deal with all the stray dogs, and they find them homes, they foster them, and cats and puppies and kittens and all that good stuff. So
yeah.
But they had one when we were up there. She was fostering this little guy, Bartholomew Bart, and he was just gonna be a monster because his paws were huge. But he was still like
beefy boy.
He was probably like a month, maybe 2 months old. So he was like, a moderately sized dog, but he was gonna be big.
What kind of mix?
I think he was like a German Shepherd, like lab
Okay.
type deal.
Yeah, but you can tell with the paw, if the dog's got big paws, it's gonna be a big dog.
Yeah. So I fell in love with this dog so fast, and we didn't end up getting him, but I was heartbroken for about a month.
Yeah, he still lives in your head.
Yeah, but unfortunately, I think he got a really good home up in Larange or somewhere down south in maybe PA or something like that.
Nice.
So,
I think dogs that live outside of cities on like bigger properties probably have so much better lives than dogs that live in a city, right? You have a little bit more free range. It's like, it's nice for us to have dogs, but to have like, a farm you could run around on or something like that.
That's the dog's life, right?
That's the dream, man.
yeah.
Just ripping around, smelling shit, pissing on shit,
eating rabbit crap.
And, chasing shit.
Sticks. Who doesn't want to see a good stick?
Rolling around and stuff. You're probably not supposed to roll around.
Seriously?
Just gets a shower, instantly jumps in like a pile of mud or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think so as well too. But I think people they love people too. So I don't know. It's a
man's oldest friend, right? Yeah. Like there's a reason we've kind of like co-evolved together. I think over
imagine
thousands,
came from a wolf,
hundreds of thousands of years. Yeah,
I have a little dachshund, and it came from a wolf. That's my go-to. There's like someone who has like my street who has like a husky mix kind of thing.
Yep.
And my go-to joke is whenever we're passing each other, as I go like crazy that these are the same species. Hey.
Yeah. Seriously, it's kind of fucking
mine's like
insane.
more like a cat than a dog.
Oh yeah, I mean, but like people kind of have the same thing, right? Like you put Shaquille O'Neal next to I don't know, my grandma. Yeah. It looks like two different species.
Yeah. A wide variety of
size and
people,
size,
appearance,
shapes,
and
colors, everything.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Well, Rick, I'll bring over Lupe as much as I can.
I am very much looking forward to that.
You can get your dog fix.
Let's go. I was thinking about getting a tortoise.
That'd be cool.
I know they take I thought it'd be like a very chill pet to own.
Yeah.
But I guess they take it they need a lot of upkeep. So I don't know. I might just get a fish, name him Bubbles or something.
I always think about the turtles or the tortoises in Finding Nemo when I think about the EAC, dude.
What does it stand for? The Eastern something.
Eastern Atlantic Current.
Yeah.
That's a guess.
Yeah.
Don't quote me.
Sounded right.
So it was close to something accurate.
Yeah, sounded right. Yeah, because you probably have to make sure like the water pH is right and everything, and
It has to be a certain temperature. You gotta like upkeep the cleanliness of the tank and their shell.
yeah. I had a beta fish for about 5 years.
Lots of upkeep
lasted
with
for-
that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think the main thing with turtles would be probably like keeping straws out of their tank. Terrible video.
What are you talking about?
No, it's like because like
There's the
like
turtle that had the
straws have
straw up its nose.
Oh,
that like
yeah.
viral video.
Yes.
Now all the plastics are banned.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
There's a meme and it's like Winnie the Pooh and it's like the liberal leaving me at what is it? He's like it's like
McDonald's or something.
yeah, it's like me, like the liberal leaving me while I drink from my paper straw, and it's like a dream sequence. It's like Winnie the Pooh, and then there's like a spirit kind of going out of him. Paper
Yeah,
straws?
I'm all for saving the environment, but I did buy 10,000 plastic straws before they got banned.
Yeah, that's probably a good call. Man, it's so stupid because the plastic straws that they have a layer of like plastic polymer on them so they don't degrade. So it's just like, oh, we're sneaky. We have a little less plastic in it, but it's like,
Yeah.
no, it's still a plastic straw.
Oh, yeah,
it's just less of a plastic straw.
I got a huge kick out of it because Wendy's, they have paper straws now, but they obviously used to have plastic straws. But now they're like extra large cup. It used to be cardboard and paper, but now the whole cup is plastic.
yeah.
So we get a paper straw, but a big, huge fucking plastic cup. What are we doing here?
We're good. We're saving the environment. That's what we're doing.
One straw at a time.
Oh man.
I think that's unfortunately a lot of people especially in North America.
Yeah.
We kind of get to have this like, we're super conscious, environmentally conscious because we all got bashed with it in school, right? You just got beat up with climate change and Al Gore and all that kind of stuff when we were younger. And I do think it's like your human responsibility to respect the planet. But I see my friends all the time ordering Amazon products with 18 different plastic wraps around them, or we all drive our cars still.
People are like, grandstanding on Twitter while they're using their iPhone that was built in China.
Yeah.
With conflict
exactly.
minerals. Yeah. It's like it's easy to point the finger, but it's kind of like, you gotta
Seriously.
hey, you gotta point it back at you. It's like, okay, what am I changing?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's a slow, I think it's a slow thing.
Yeah.
It's not we gotta do it right now. It's like, okay, this will be an overtime thing because you're gonna have to change a lot of people's behavior, and that's a slow thing.
I think people will become more responsible. I hope we become more responsible as the civilization goes on, because it would be terrible if coastal cities sunk underwater, or if there were tornadoes all the time and stuff like that. Kind of the story that you're given. But at the same time, I think
For some people,
I think the world is pretty resilient. Like the globe, it's a big thing, and to assume that we've done so much to change it and we can just stop it by spending money is maybe a short-sighted.
Money doesn't solve problems. People solve problems.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's government's responsibility or your local government's responsibility to maybe take care of the river, right? Or take care of the land that's around the city, that kind of deal, versus like, we need to give the federal government all of the money or else we're all going to die. Right? Like,
And it needs to be right now.
yeah, exactly. The amount of there's so many different little newspaper clippings from projections that go back like 150 years. Like the world is going to be out of food by the 50s, but we came up with different ways of growing crops. Like golden rice was invented and saved how many millions of people across third world countries because you can grow rice that's more resistant to weather changes, right? Like how are we going to figure that out with maybe fossil fuels or with emissions, that kind of thing? I think technology and people will hopefully solve the problem, because if we don't, then the other option is bad.
Yeah. Well, I'm bullish people, man. I think, well, that's not to say. I think there will be bad shit, like I think I've talked with Eric about this a bit, where I said like what in the short to medium term, I'm bullish volatility, as in things are going to be wacky. Like there's going to be a lot of up down all around.
Yeah.
But in the long term, I'm bullish people. Like it's like the indomitable human spirit. Like I think there'll probably be like a lot of bad shit, but then at the very end of it, like people will probably survive. Life goes on. But
Yeah, I think the goal is that things like hopefully get better for people in general. And I think we kind of have like a microscopic focus on issues. We get like so zoned in on like a financial crisis or an an environmental disaster. Or social issues that are driving people up the wall. Like, you have to believe this or you have to believe that. Like, the amount of goofy religions that have existed over the course of humanity, right? The amount of silly things we've believed at different periods of time. I think we're pretty resilient. And I think the goal for, like, humanity as a whole is, like, make your society so that old people can live well off their retirements and not have to worry about that. And young people can learn and, like, grow up in an environment where they're not afraid, and the people in the middle that are working and making the money, the tax base, aren't getting fucked.
Yeah.
Instead, we just go like everything's bad and this is wrong and this is wrong. But you walk outside and it's like it's a beautiful sunny day.
Yeah.
Birds are chirping. People are running down the paths.
Yeah.
We got dogs.
I saw this one YouTube guy, and he went and he was like this British guy, and he went and he's like, the title is like, oh, tourism under the Taliban, and he goes to like
Crazy.
Afghanistan. I think it's Afghanistan.
Yeah.
And he goes and he's like touring around and walking around, and then it's like, okay, yeah, like big thing, America pulls out of Afghanistan. But he goes around and then it's like, sure, there's like roadblocks and there's like people, there's like big parades, like there's like some kind of like Taliban like put on like military propaganda stuff kind of going on. But then he's like, yeah, but then you also like go and then there's like a still.
There's a mom with her kid walking down the street.
There's a little market. People still need food and need to trade stuff. Like it's like, and then it's like, so it's like kind of normal life, but just under a little bit different, right? Maybe it's a little bit more oppressive, right?
Totally.
But it's like, and it's like under the comment was like, I thought this was hilarious. It just goes to show that no matter what, life goes on.
Seriously.
And it's
it does.
Yeah, man. It's like, yeah, sure, there's like these regimes that come into place. Some are better, some are worse. But it's like, for most people, like in that broad, like that kind of bell curve of stuff, it's like,
oh yeah,
man, you're just going to be worried about mostly like what's happening in your day to day. And it's kind
of, do you have a job? How are your parents doing?
Yeah.
How are your friends doing?
Safety,
that's what
security.
Most people really care about.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. I don't know. I think, Eric, you probably know better than most, right? Like things can go from good to bad, like quick, right?
Yeah, they really can. And like, I don't know, like a ton of life is about perspective too. Like what you guys are hitting on, like it's about how you wake up and how you face the day sort of thing. So,
seriously.
Yeah, I don't know. I try and wake up every day with a smile, and I like to think I'm pretty good at it for the most part. But
speaking of the indomitable human spirit, man, like you personify that. You're an inspiration, man.
Thanks, buddy. I try.
Yeah.
And some days are harder than others.
Yeah, they are. And it's not that, you don't have to be on a roll every single day, but it's about, rolling with the punches and, but you keep going with the flow sort of thing. So
yeah. 100%.
Yeah. It's but life can throw you some curveballs, that is for sure.
Oh yeah.
And it's not about like, I don't know. Obviously, it sucks, like depending on what happens, but it's also more so like how you deal with it.
Totally. You can control how you react to things. You can't control the things that happen to you.
Exactly.
Right. It's that whole like, somebody's egging you on and like trying to get under your skin. If you lose your shit and you go beat them up or you yell back in their face like you're just an idiot like they are, it's like it's the hard thing to shut up and walk away. And it's maybe the lame thing too, right? But it's better in the end if if you can be if you can overcome the shit that's like in your face.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I think being a good person is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
there's a lot of nastiness out there right now, and that's what I try and avoid as much as possible, because it's so easy to get caught up in like an argument or or beef or something like that, and you just gotta if you have a disagreement, wish them well, move on to the next thing, sort of. Yeah, I don't know. That's how I try and deal with stuff.
Yeah, hell yeah, it's a good perspective.
No, that was good. I was just listening. I was listening, guys. Snaps. Philosophize. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Yeah. No, Ricky and I go down that path a lot, right? Well, because you're one of my friends. Like, I have a lot of friends. I have some friends that I really love and have great experiences with. But we go out and we drink beers and we shoot the shit, and we don't necessarily get super deep on a lot of things that happen in life. Then I have a few friends, some really close buddies, and Erik being one of them, who I know if something goes wrong in my life, or if I'm feeling down about something, which happens to everybody, and happens to everybody a lot more than we like to admit, I can reach out to you and I can say, hey man, like, shit sucks right now. Can we chat? Can we have a little sit down? Or I know you've done that with me a couple of times, and I like just having that relationship with you is so important to me. And it's so helpful for my life. Well,
first of all, thanks, buddy. I really appreciate that. I feel the same way, because, like, I don't know. I think it's important to, give, the people you care about most that sort of space. Yeah. Where they can, be vulnerable and be open about, what's going on and how they're dealing with it, and what just kind of how or what advice you can try and give them. And I don't know. I wouldn't consider myself an expert on anything. But I like to think that I know a little bit about,
maybe movies.
Maybe movies. But
for sure movies.
I don't know. Like, you gotta. Yeah, I don't know. It's a complicated one, because
I think you nailed it with the giving space, right? Where you're a really good listener, and you're really good at allowing someone to accurately or like express themselves in a way that they actually feel. Like, I think it's really hard for most people to put into words their emotions, and to give that space, right, to allow someone to express themselves. You're so good at it.
Yeah, and I don't know. Like, I think a lot's gone into that, because, like, I don't even know how to describe it, because, like, obviously the injury, big thing. Yeah. And then, like, losing my dad was another huge thing. And that, like, I don't want to say like I'm desensitized to it, but, like, I'm almost conditioned to, like, know how to respond better than someone who
might almost be like you're hypersensitive to it, in that you can see, like, emotion in other people better than most people.
Yeah, like, I don't know. I don't know how to put my finger on it, but yeah,
it's like an emotional intelligence, and also a bit of a. It's probably easier to empathize. Like, when you go through shit, it's like easier when you see someone else going through shit. It's like,
I think that's lots of time.
That's shit.
Like,
I recognize what that is. And that's really shitty, and that's not a fun place to be in. Yeah, and it's nice to have someone. It's not nice to not be alone when you're going through a shitty time.
100%. Yeah, you can kind of maybe. I have an image in my mind of someone who's had, like, a terrible life, and things don't go their way, and they're in a bad place. Whereas when you see someone who has had bad things happen to them, and they overcome it, and they rise up, and they're still, like, they care about their family, they care about their friends, they care about things around them. That's the thing that makes you, like, stop and go, like, holy shit, you're a remarkable person. You're there's a few people like that in my life. Like, my dad's awesome. He's gone through some shit, and he's doing so much better, which is awesome to see. Wyatt, like, my roommate, not that he's had a terrible life by any means. I think he's had a pretty good life, but he had a similar injury to you, not as severe, but he bounced back, and he works really hard and makes things happen. Like, life, throws curveballs at you, and shit can get, I don't know, dark. So it's really important to have people in your life that you can reach out to.
A lot of the times I like to think back to that Rocky quote.
Fuck yeah.
I can't
Adrian!
remember
That
one? I don't know which one
it's not about how hard you can get hit. Or no, it's not about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward.
Yeah, exactly. That's how winning is done.
Yeah, it's so good. I think that's Rocky Balboa, the movie that came out in
The
06 or like 07
Yeah.
with his son, where he fights
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah.
I want to watch all the Rocky movies again. You get so fired up after you watch them.
There are a lot of movies. Like, I don't know. I love cinema and TV right now. So, but I like to think you can learn something from like almost anything you watch for the most part, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. I think people in general, like you were saying with time, we don't have like a clock in our brain that measures things. We have moments. And a lot of the times with life, we don't necessarily have like a measurement of good or bad or this or that. We understand things in stories, and we tell ourselves a story of our life of like, things are going good because I have a job and because I have responsibility and this, that, and the other thing. It's not like a measurement necessarily. And when someone does a good job of telling a story, whether it's in TV or in movies, you can find the humanity in it, and you're like, oh, I can relate to that. Like that character, I see myself in that character, or I hate that fucking character because I see myself in that character.
Yeah.
And like you said, like fucking Succession, some of the best TV out right now, man. Like you can get lost in the streaming services.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Are you caught up?
I believe.
I don't want to spoil it, but I want to talk about it so bad.
Okay, so
Where?
sorry for everyone. Spoilers. Spoiler alert for Succession.
Spoiler alert.
The last one I saw was Logan died, and
Okay, so you're
no. But I Logan died, and then they had the meeting, and then they were trying to bomb the deal, but then he comes back with a higher offer. That's the last thing I saw. Has there been an episode since then?
There's one more on Sunday
when they were in Hollywood.
Okay, yeah, I have not seen that one.
Yeah.
So
okay, we'll hold off of that. The most recent episode.
We'll reconvene on
but
that
how
one.
intense was the, like, speaking of a character who you hate or you love, like Logan Roy?
Yeah.
Such like a menacing, dominating, like
Intimidating.
alpha fucking piece of shit, right? Like
Yeah.
he was mean to his kids, he was mean to his employees, but there's a little bit of something where you can see that and know that he's doing it because he wants to accomplish a goal. He wants to be the best. He wants to dominate.
Yeah.
And so there's that like fine balance of like doing a good job,
I
but
think
also
that. Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good.
I was just gonna say, yeah, and it, like such an interesting scene because there's like, especially on that death scene where he dies, and the like, I thought it was really good on all the. One, it was really funny because like it's like I can't remember. I was listening to someone
So
today
unexpected.
talk about like
Yeah.
there's a reason why there's like the comedy and the drama. And
Yeah.
like how it's like the masks where it's like the smiley face and the sad face for
That's
the
like
drama.
the basis
There's-
of like storytelling.
Yeah, because they're
Yeah.
connected,
Yeah.
right? And so I thought it was hilarious because you see them go through all of these emotions because it's like, yeah, they fucking hate their dad, but it's still their dad,
100%.
right? And it's like the loss of that, but then I have so many things like left unsaid that I want to say to you, and then
Yeah, just the visceral emotion of it.
and
It
then
was so real.
yeah,
Like the way they were able to portray like Kieran Culkin, Sarah Snook, and Jeremy Strong,
Yeah.
who might go down as one of the best actors of his,
He's
Of
low
his
key,
time.
like, the subtlety to his acting, the, like, nuance is insane. He's
is-
so good.
he might be one of my favorites right now, and it's like
who's
like-
sorry, who?
Kendall.
Oh, okay, yeah,
like
yeah,
I
yeah.
almost have a hard time talking about Kendall because it makes me want to scream because I just like he's just a broken guy, and like you just want to see him succeed, but he's always gonna either collapse under the pressure.
Yeah, well, like what you were saying with the drama and the comedy thing,
Yeah.
his character like personifies that, where a lot of the things he does are like goofy and silly, but it's coming from a place of like, I want to impress my dad, I want to
Yeah.
take over the company. So like comedy and drama used to be, a drama essentially was a sad ending. A comedy was a happy ending. It's not the association that we have today with multiple different movie genres of horror and comedy and like a rom-com or something like that. The finality of that death scene was so intense because it was like, this is a sad ending to their relationship.
Yep.
And there's no redeeming that, like, all the bad shit you said to each other.
Yeah.
Because it's permanent.
And like Roman leaves him that voicemail, which, you know, as an outsider, it wasn't that bad.
Still,
But
you gotta live with it.
he feels terrible about it.
Oh yeah.
And he has to live with the fact that that could have been the last thing his dad heard him say.
Well, we like to think there's always going to be an opportunity to like recoup that relationship with someone who you care about or someone who you love. And to be totally honest, like the really fucked up, sad thing about life is one day you can't, whether it's you that's gone or the other person that's gone. And if you wait or you play it off or you let your ego get in the way for so long, and I fucking hate that person and they did this to me, X, Y, and Z. If you can't overcome it, one day, if you never resolve that issue, it will live with you for the rest of your life.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny because it's like in life there's lots of unresolved things, right? It's like we crave the story because there's a conclusion.
Yeah, you always think you have time.
Yeah. But then in life, there's lots of these moments where you don't get the opportunity to do that, or that relationship fizzles out.
Seriously.
And it's like, it's interesting. Yeah. I was just thinking, with that song, there's a James Taylor song. I think it's called Fire and Wind, or I Always Thought I'd See You Again.
Yeah. I've seen sunny days. Is that one?
Yeah.
That I thought would never end.
Yeah.
It was a good tune.
And that one, the song it makes me cry because it's like, that's what it's about. It's about someone who he thought he'd be able to see again, and then he's never going to see again.
Yeah.
It's like,
I think as a young man now, kind of like getting closer towards 30, I'm starting to realize like, oh shit, some of the stuff I did when I was, say in university or in high school, like, maybe I came across some relationships that I fucked up because I was young and immature. And especially with girls, like I look back at maybe some of the girls I would go out with or saw when I was younger, and I was like, fuck, I was an idiot. I was a fuck boy or whatever. And now I regret it because I'm close to 30 and I'm single, whether that's like a good or a bad thing, whatever. But you can see how, that's over. That part of my life is over. But there was so much potential for like maybe a beautiful relationship with a couple girls in specific that I can think of. Yeah. And I fucked it up, and now I can't get that back.
Well, you never know.
Yeah, there's still time.
And then I think with relationships, they teach you things. So I think there's probably what's an important thing is like with those relationships, it's like you probably learned what you want from a partner, what you don't want from a partner, and what you want to bring to a relationship. And like the shitty parts that you're just like, oh, like, I behaved really shitty there.
Yeah.
And that's like, I don't really want to make that person feel that way. I don't want to be that kind of partner.
Totally.
And then you learn from that, and it's like, oh, okay, I'm going to bring that with me going forward kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's someone out there for you, man.
Oh, yeah. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. We'll do some matchmaking. Ladies.
Ricky and I will start perusing the clubs this summer.
Yeah. Shout out to all the ladies looking for love out there.
Look out, ladies. We're coming.
It's so weird too now though, because like I don't know, when did like Tinder come out?
Yeah, see, that was like I don't want to blame technology for my behavior, but when we were 18, 19, there was this brand new technology where you could match with a complete stranger and connect with them, and essentially you could fuck them that night if you really like put in the work and were like, you had a little bit of game and whatever.
Yeah, guinea pig generation.
Yeah, seriously. Like how different are our relationships in 2023 than they were for our parents dating in the 80s or the 90s, or our grandparents dating in the 50s and 60s, right? Like the structure of this stuff is so different now.
Yeah. I would say probably really different and really similar, right? Like
in a lot of ways, yeah.
Yeah. But I think in like how it's definitely how it's facilitated, very different.
Totally.
Yeah.
Like I think in a lot of ways we can be more selfish with our time and with our phones, right? Like one thing phones have done is they've made you available 24 hours a day, which kind of sucks. So if you don't respond to somebody, there's this like negative connotation associated with it, which I think is stupid, right? Like if you missed a phone call before the advent of cell phones, it was like, oh, maybe I'll call you back or whatever, or we'll see each other the next time we see each other. Right? That's just the way things went. But now you can be in a relationship with somebody, and if you don't respond for 4 hours or 3 hours, it can be a fight that night for no other reason other than the fact that you were busy, or maybe you ignored them. But
yeah, it introduces new communication barriers and things that you got to work through for sure.
Totally.
Yeah.
How long have you and your girlfriend been together?
For a long time, about 7 years.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet. So you put in some time.
Yeah. She doesn't want me talking about her on the podcast too much, but I'll be probably pretty general.
Sorry.
All good. But yeah, I think the way we think about it is like there's me, there's her, and there's our relationship.
And then there's us. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
And then it's like you have to
be an individual first.
Yeah.
You can be a couple.
Yeah, so there's things that you do to take care of yourself. There's things that you do to take care of the relationship, and things that you do to take care of the other person.
Yeah.
And it's a tough journey. Like, and it's like it's not necessarily grass is always greener.
Yeah.
But it's like grass is greener where you water it, right?
100%. Yeah, you got to put the work in.
Yeah. So I think I don't know, but I'm also like we've been dating like pretty steadily since university, so I didn't really go through too much of like the Tinder stuff or anything like that. So
yeah,
I don't know. I like to, I'd like to be like the backseat driver. It's like, oh, you guys are doing it wrong. Like you gotta build this relationship with this person.
I wish I was like 18 and was like, I want a committed relationship.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's I think it's each person has their own journey with that a little bit. So
yeah, totally.
Yeah, so I don't know. I know my journey, and it's
it's a Wild West.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. What's your guys' strategy for
meeting girls?
Yeah.
I don't have one clearly right now, but
Okay.
No, I think.
Are you looking to meet someone, or you're more like
I'm more at a point in my life where if it comes, it comes, and like I pursue it that way. I'm not necessarily on like the hunt, if that makes any sense.
Nice.
Same sort of deal.
That's like one of the first rules in the law of attraction.
Yeah.
Let them come to you.
Yeah. I mean, I hope maybe one day you meet a girl in the grocery store or like, at the bar or something like that. But for a long period of time in my life, probably from like 17 to 23 or 22, it was like, I'm on the hunt, right? I'm going to go out and get a chick. And it was a much more selfish endeavor. Whereas now, if I did get into a relationship, it would be much more of that. Like, I have my life, you have your life. If it works, that's awesome. Let's make it work.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not super like hound dog for love right now.
Fair enough.
Would it be all right if we took a 5-minute break here?
Yeah, sure. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, AJ, we're to the listeners. We're going to take a little break, and we'll be right back.
Locked and loaded.
I don't think we had to do the clap, but I think we just have to start talking again now. I hope you enjoyed that Raid Shadow Legends.
Yeah.
Or whoever we have in there.
Yeah.
Thanks, Blue Chew.
Yeah.
It's on every podcast.
Yeah. Shit. What were we talking about before?
I think we're talking about relationships.
Relationships. Yeah. What I'm just trying to think of what I want to ask. Let's switch it up.
Let's jump into something else. What do you guys want to talk about?
Well, I want you to talk more about what we were just talking about off camera a little bit.
Sweet.
We were talking about where you work, what you do for work, and
tell
me a bit more about it.
I currently work for a company called Market Wines. They're a really awesome company in Calgary here. Three shops around the city. It's like a boutique wine kind of operation. I work at the University District location. I don't know if you guys have been up there.
I live in Montgomery, so we're really close, and then we're close to the other new location as well.
Yeah,
we're kind of like right in the
one
middle.
that just opened up over by COP.
Yeah.
So I've worked in liquor since literally the day I turned 18. I knew a coworker that I worked with at Starbucks, which was one of my first jobs when I was in junior high and high school.
Did you like your Starbucks job?
No, not at all. It was terrible.
I worked there for just like one semester in university. I really liked it.
I didn't work in a real Starbucks. I worked in a Safeway Starbucks.
Okay.
So
it's just like licensed as the Starbucks.
Essentially,
isn't it?
yeah. I was a Safeway employee technically.
Yeah.
But you learn all the recipes and like people expect you to do all the exact same stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like kind of getting thrown into the fire for customer service as a 15-year-old trying to make like, I don't know, 180-degree lattes.
I said vanilla
for the mom getting out of her like spin class who loses it if it's not too hot. And I'm like, legally,
I said non-fat.
I can't serve this to you. You'll burn your face off.
Yeah.
Or like, it's actually supposed to be 4 shots of it. Like, you want 60 grams of sugar in your coffee? Who is this good for? Yeah. So
it's my ritual.
Yeah,
it's my ritual.
one of the girls that I worked with there, she ended up getting a job at the Liquor Barn, which was the liquor store that was in the mall, very close to the Safeway that I was working at.
Which Safeway is this one?
North Hill.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so I think now the liquor store that's there is like a Ace Liquor discounter, but before that it was a Liquor Depot, and then before that it was Liquor Barn, which was where I got my start. So I had an interview a week before I turned 18, and the manager was like, I can't hire you yet, but you have a job when you turn 18. So I got my pro serve, and I started working there while I was going to school. And I enjoyed school, but I didn't necessarily love it. So probably 3 years into my degree, I kind of realized school wasn't the thing that I wanted to pursue, and instead of spending money to learn, I wanted to work and make money, which just in my brain at that time seemed like the more rational approach, instead of like beating my head against a wall. I mean, I was more a lazy student than it was too difficult. Second year I was a decent student, but you know, as university dragged on, I just stopped going to class. I was way less invested in it. It was more like, oh, what are the buddies doing on the weekend? What are we getting into?
Yeah.
And so when I ended up getting my own place with Gianni back in the day, I got another job with a different liquor store. It's called Oak and Vine, which is a super cool little boutique craft beer shop down in Inglewood. Okay. One of the coolest liquor stores in the city. They're awesome. If you love beer, I would highly recommend going there. 1,000 different individual beers in the cooler. Yeah. Really awesome curated wine section. Some dope spirits as well. And I fell in love with what I was doing, whether it was studying beer, studying wine, or even the customer service aspect in this job was so much better than customer service at, say, like a Starbucks, which was god awful.
Yeah. I would imagine it's more fun because it's like kind of like, oh, like there's more curiosity to that aspect of it, where people in Starbucks is like, I'm here for this thing and I want it right now.
I know what a pumpkin spice latte is supposed to taste like.
And this is not.
yeah, exactly. Versus
whereas
like,
for wine, it's more out of curiosity.
Hey, let me explain this like beautiful bottle of French Syrah to you that this vineyard has hundreds of, if not multiple hundreds of years of history to it, that, you know, is a similar thing that they would drink 400 years ago, right? Like, it's such a human experience. Like, alcohol is very unique to humanity, I think. Yeah.
That's cool. So when did you start? So you were at the Liquor Barn?
Yeah, Liquor Barn, which ended up turning into a Liquor Depot.
Yeah. And then
worked there for like 2 years, took a little break. We worked in a kitchen for like a month. It was just a terrible experience. And then I got a job at a different Liquor Depot, which was downtown. It was their 17th Ave location, which is another really cool liquor store in the city. If you want to buy like a $30,000 bottle of cognac, like they have some really cool stuff in behind glass and very expensive scotch and things like that. Just because it was a big company, they have money to spend, right? Yeah. I worked there for 6 months or so. I was more kind of like a doorman than actually working in the store. I would just check people's IDs a lot of the time, and then part of the week I would work on the floor. But it was more getting the job with Oak and Vine when I was like, I think 22, that really like solidified the passion in my brain, because it was just this like whole new world where there's so much to learn about something that I'm passionate about, and to be able to dive into it in an environment where there was challenges, but not necessarily like the most difficult job in the world. It was an awesome experience.
Cool.
Yeah.
And so how long were you at Oak and Vine?
I think I was there for like 3 years and a bit. I ended up leaving last September to get I got a gig with Market. They're a really, really cool company that's growing really fast in the city, and they have an awesome program. I have absolutely nothing bad to say about Oak and Vine. It was like one of the coolest places I've ever worked. The owners are such fantastic people, and I learned so much when I was there. Yeah. But I had I needed to make a transition into a role where there was more opportunity for growth. Yeah. Especially being a young guy, where I'm like, I'm not necessarily the hungriest. I got to go get everything, but I definitely need a little bit of like track to run with, and some space to grow. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. So what did you take from, sorry, it's Oak and
Vine.
Oak and Vine. So what did you, I guess, going into that, what did you learn about the business?
Yeah.
And then what has working at, because how long have you been at Market Wines for?
So since September, October, so 6-7 months.
Okay. And then what are some things that you've learned in this role that you don't think you would have gotten at Oak and Vine?
I don't know if it's something that I wouldn't have gotten either way. It's more that this is a bigger company with a little bit more, upward mobility. Yeah. Okay. If that makes any sense. I learned so much about the industry working down in Inglewood. Yeah. Just like coming into a place where, I thought I knew a little bit about alcohol, and then walking into the cooler, and there's literally 1,000 different beers. There's super cool imported beers from Europe, from Asia. There's a bunch of stuff from the States, beers from across the country. It was kind of like a convalescence, I don't know if that's the right term, of this like craft beer revolution that was taking place within Calgary at the time, and me jumping into this position where I kind of got to learn about beer as craft beer was growing in the city. So it was a really fun experience to try the freaking coolest hazy IPA that came out that week, whether it was from Establishment Brewing or Cabin Brewing or 88. Like, there's so many awesome little operations in the city now that didn't exist 10 years ago. And I was just like, I got to be caught up within it at the time that everything was growing. It was super fun.
That's cool. Yeah. Cause for sure, like that was a big thing. And I don't know if would you say that it's still
huge?
Like, it's like kind of still growing.
I think in like 2012 or 2011, there was something like less than 15 to 20 breweries within the province. Yeah. I think now we're at like 150 or 160. Oh, wow. Like, it's insane. It's awesome. There's a ton of jobs that it's created for people within the province. Calgary specifically, Edmonton does have a really good craft beer scene as well, but really developed like I don't want to say an international recognition, but there are some really quality beers that come out of Calgary now, it's so cool to see.
Yeah, that's cool. So what do you like to drink? Are you a beer guy? Are you a wine person?
My current role with Market Wines, I manage the cooler up at the University District location. So I order all the beer and the coolers and ciders and pre-made drinks, that kind of deal. Before you answer the other question, what do the people of University District like to drink the most? It's interesting because you get the 20-year-old students who want to spend $15 to $20 and just have a time that night. Yeah. So they're going to buy like White Claws, or there's these like pre-made tequila drinks that are really popular right now. But at the same time, some of the condos and building that's gone up there are really expensive. So you have people who are in their 40s, 50s, 60s with a little bit of walking around money, and they're looking for a nice Italian Barolo or a big Californian Cab, right? Like, so it's a really interesting mix. One thing I found wherever I've worked in the city at a different store, you always have a little bit of a different clientele. Yeah. So it's not like liquor is never one size fits all. I'm sure if you see driving around the city, like you go to different areas and the stores look different, very, very different. And so that's kind of like the name of the game in booze, is figuring out your clientele base around you and then kind of running with it. The university store within Market Wines actually has a lot different, maybe not a lot. The wines are very similar across the 3 stores, but we have a ton of beer options at our location, and we have lots of spirits as well, just because we have a little bit more of a general customer base, whereas the 2 other locations are right next to farmers markets, and you get that like kind of more established, 30, 40, 50-year-old customer who is looking for a bottle of wine.
Different palate.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Oh yeah. So more. So it would be. Is there like a number 1 seller? Like, do you have that? Are you allowed to share that?
For me right now, there's this amazing brewery in the city. They're called Old Beautiful. They're just down in Inglewood. They I don't know if I'm not sure, but a lot of you guys have heard of Cold Garden. Old Beautiful is in the exact same parking lot, and they make this beer called Okamikasu. It's a Japanese ale. It is banging. This is one of my highest selling 6-packs right now, and people seem to really, really like that beer.
Sweet.
Yeah.
What's it called?
Okamikasu.
Okamikasu.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll look for that.
Yeah, Eric and I will try it out. We'll give our review in the next podcast.
Crush some brews, boys.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah. What? Okay, and this might be controversial.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to ask you that because one of the trends that I've been reading on is that young people drink less.
Yeah.
So how is that? How does that conversation go on? And then what are some? Because I know there's like a lot of non-alcoholic stuff out there as well too.
Totally.
Yeah. So what?
You
tell me what your thoughts are on
There
it.
are lots of different trends within booze right now, and that's definitely one of them. Like non-alc is, if not the fastest, one of the fastest growing categories within booze. Like craft beer is one of them. High-end wine is another one. But the non-alc category has exploded in the last year. I think it partially has to do with a rebound effect from COVID. Just in general, people were drinking more. They were at their house a lot of the time without many things to do. So like, fuck it. It's a Wednesday afternoon. I don't have anywhere to go. I don't have anyone to see. Let's get into the gin, right?
Yeah.
Like let's crack that bottle of whiskey that's been sitting on the shelf for 2 years, or let's dig into the cellar with the wines that have just been sitting there for years and years. But with the young people thing specifically, I do think they drink less, even than say our generation, which are the like 25 to 35-year-olds.
Yeah.
We would go out and everybody's getting a 15-pack or a Mickey for themselves or a 6-pack of Hey Y'alls. I see university students of like 4 or 5 guys come in now, and I'm sure this is not the hard rule, but they're like, oh, we can split a Mickey of Fireball between like 4 or 5 dudes. I'm like, yeah, good on you guys. You're being responsible as hell, but like, how much fun are you having?
Yeah.
Like, I think young people probably smoke less than previous generations. They drink less. They're a little bit more aware of the negative consequences of substance abuse. Yeah. But there's also a lot of positive consequences of substance abuse that people don't like to talk about, like having the most fun you can have in university, right? Like, don't get so drunk you can't take care of yourself, but crushing beers in the backyard with the boys before you're going out, like,
it's fun.
It's beautiful.
It's a great time.
Yeah, I hear that.
There's a reason everybody gets drunk at a wedding, right?
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes too drunk.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and that's a big thing. I don't want to make booze sound like it's all fun and games. It's not. It is like a serious substance. Oftentimes I'll say it's the world's best poison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So pick your poison wisely.
Seriously.
Yeah.
What are some of your favorite like alcohols?
A huge whiskey guy. I love Scotch. I love bourbon. The wine passion has really come a long way in the last 4 or 5 years. I've taken a few courses to get a better understanding of wine. And I think with a lot of large subjects, whether it's like, alcohol or cars or music or something like that, once you scratch the surface and you start to learn a little bit, you realize just how
deep it goes.
You have no idea what any of this stuff actually is. And there's every little sub-region on the planet has their own little traditional drink that they've been making for hundreds of years, or it's just it's such a unique topic that I love, and I could just hopefully spend the rest of my life learning about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one's a little out of left field, but which alcohol is the strongest?
So it's more, it depends upon percentage.
Yeah.
Right. So, essentially the basics of booze is fermentation, where you have an organic sugar or, that interacts with yeast, and the yeast will then convert that sugar into alcohol. So that's how beer's made. That's how wine's made. That's how, most like lower percentage alcohols are produced. And then on top of that, what you can do with alcohol once it's fermented is you can distill it. And by distilling it, essentially you're going to boil it, and alcohol will boil at a lower temperature than water. So as the alcohol boils, it starts to concentrate in a still, and it ends up in a little tube. There's a very basic still, and the alcohol would drop out aside before the water evaporates, thus giving you a much more concentrated drink. And the more you distill something, the higher percentage you can get. There are whiskeys out there that range from 60 to 65 to 67% alcohol, which is huge. That's like more than half of the bottle in front of you is pure alcohol. Yeah. The rest is made up of sugar and water and congeners and oils and different things that will give it flavor. I think the stuff that would mess people up the most is probably like tequila, high percentage whiskey, high percentage rums, that kind of deal. But like alcohol really, really varies. If you haven't eaten enough that day, if you haven't had enough water to drink that day, if you're in a bad mood, like that can all affect the way that the buzz is going to feel.
Yeah.
Sometimes I won't eat enough during the day, and I'll have a couple of drinks, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, I'm very drunk.
Yeah.
But then there are like traditional cultures, like an Italian culture, where you drink not all day long, but you might have a drink with lunch, you might have a couple of drinks with dinner, and just the way that the day is structured, you can have enough food, you have aperitifs, you have after dinner drinks, you can drink a lot more and you don't actually feel that drunk. Yeah. So it's a super, super cool, maybe not drug is the wrong term, but it's a drug. Substance. Yeah.
It's an interesting one for sure.
Yeah.
And it's like you said, like it's interesting how prolific it is in human history.
Yeah, it's everywhere. It's in all the stories. It's in it's ingrained. Political leaders drink when they meet.
Yeah. The Vikings.
Everyone respected the hell out of Winston Churchill because he could hold his liquor and still fight off the Nazis, right? You respect that old guy who sits there with the glass of whiskey and has good stories to tell, and and maybe it's just like a figment of imagination that a story that you tell yourself in your brain.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's
a
real thing.
Yeah, it's a social lubricant as well too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it kind of lowers the
inhibitions.
Yeah. So gets you chatting easier, right? Yeah, it's like there's a lot less anxiety with, oh fuck, what if I say this?
I call it like the 2 or 3 drink buzz, where you're just like, oh, I can talk all day. I'm a little more confident. I'm a little loose. Like this feels good. Yeah. Not everybody. There's the association that alcohol is a depressant, which technically it is. But while your blood alcohol level is still rising while you're consuming alcohol, there are some psychologists or some doctors that would actually argue that it's a stimulant because it increases blood flow, it relieves inhibitions. It's in nowhere in the same ballpark as, say, like, cocaine or Adderall as a legitimate stimulant that keeps you wired for hours at a time, right? You drink enough alcohol, you will fall asleep.
Yeah.
But that, like, inebriating factor can lead you to be a little bit more active and risk taking than you would be normally.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Question. I have a question about this, and I know that there's like a lot of there's like kind of like protection laws for interprovincial.
Silly.
Yeah. Okay. I wanted to ask you a question. Why? Where did those come from, and do you know, and why are they there? And
so,
because
alcohol has like a funny history, say with or not
like
say
with prohibition.
Yeah. There are like similar things you can look at, whether it's like drug regulation or like in Canada, you can't buy raw milk.
Right.
Because the government says it's too dangerous. But essentially, and I don't know if I should say this on a podcast, there's a group of people that control milk production and
big dairy, baby.
Yeah, they want to make all the money that they can by keeping the rules the way that they are.
Yeah. Entrenched powers.
It's a similar deal when it comes to alcohol. Alcohol is a enormous tax revenue base for governments. Oftentimes, if you're looking at a bottle price on a Canadian shelf, 60% of that price is tax. And the reason you can't take alcohol interprovincially was one, to limit the distribution of alcohol so that people wouldn't buy it in this province and go sell it in this province. But essentially the reasoning behind that being the government doesn't get its tax if it's you that's selling it without them. So every bottle that comes into Alberta outside of Alberta, it runs through a specific government warehouse and they get to tax everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awful. I think that, sorry.
But they're honestly, like, to be totally fair, the structure that it's set up in Alberta is so much better than, say, BC or Ontario.
Yeah, the LCBO, the LICBO.
Yeah, exactly, where they have government-run liquor stores. Essentially because we have privatization across the board in Alberta, we have access to some of the best product in the world. We have a better liquor market than, like, say, LA or New York because agencies can get their product into Alberta easier. And there's storefronts that survive off being the best or like having a very unique selection. Whereas if you're a government run liquor store, there's not really incentive to be different and unique and curate a very cool wine section or a very cool beer section or a world-class spirit selection. Yeah. Essentially, you're just going to make your money because you can.
Yeah. You're a monopoly.
Yep.
Yeah. Interesting. That's wild. Yeah. Cause I would always, like I've had this conversation before with people, and like my aunt was a big wine wholesaler or wine and sake rep.
Cool.
I don't know if she wants to be on the podcast, so I won't mention it. Yeah. So we would talk, like she would kind of explain to me a little bit about kind of how it works, but I always thought it would be because one it's like kind of protectionist. Law, but it's also like I would always think like, wouldn't that be better for everyone if you could, like, it'd be like, oh yeah, like sure, some people have access to the Alberta market, but also then Alberta brewers would have access to other markets as well too,
totally
within Canada as well too,
yeah.
And then be awesome to get like a Alberta craft beer if I'm like go and move to Ontario to get an Alberta craft beer,
exactly,
like there it's like, oh, it's a reminder of home kind of thing,
totally,
and so. And then it's same for Ontario. With like, there's a shit ton of Ontarians here that would probably want an Ontarian craft beer.
Yeah, and honestly, the benefit of Alberta is you can find a lot of them. There are import agencies that will bring in, especially like the top quality breweries within the country, into Alberta. But say if you do go out to Vancouver, a much smaller likelihood that you'll find a Calgarian craft beer.
Yeah.
But there's a very good chance you can find Vancouver or Toronto craft beers within Calgary.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. I didn't know that about
about
the Alberta market.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. It's dope. Like we have world-class whiskey that comes into this province. We have world-class wine that comes into this province. I was talking to a guy at a wine bar the other day, and they got access to a specific German producer who will bore everybody with all the technical stuff, but essentially they release 500 bottles of this 3-liter Magnum, and it's a world-class Riesling, and somehow these guys got one of the bottles and because they're in Alberta. If they were anywhere else, there's very, very low likelihood. And you have to know people. You have to make connections with producers and with with distributors.
Yeah.
But you can get some fucking cool shit here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. What are there any, that's probably a dumb question, but is there anyone in Alberta who produces wine?
That's not a silly question necessarily, but no, not not
you can't
wine in a traditional sense.
Yeah, you can't grow grapes.
Not wine grapes. You can. There are some honey wine producers, some meaderies, which there's some world class mead that's made in Alberta. There's a few like in Okotoks, and Fallen Timber is one that pops into my head. They're just outside of the city. They make some amazing product. I think there's another producer that does fruit wines up north, and there's another producer that does like floral wines.
Interesting.
But yeah, no actual grapes in Alberta. Wine grapes are very temperamental. Yeah. They do very well in specific climates.
Yeah.
Yeah. And very poorly in most.
Yeah. How big is the, I guess not the hard alcohol. So like if you separate the hard alcohol and spirits and the wine and beer market.
Yeah.
How big is that like the mead market and these like kind of floral? Okay. Yeah.
Small.
Okay.
Really, really cool stuff. Like really, really cool production stuff. But pretty niche market for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that just because the taste profile is different, or it's because it's like just not as marketed?
Again, I think it goes to tradition, and it goes to stuff that has been successful historically, right? Like wine and beer are global, sought after globally. Whereas I think a niche product like mead has its local support. It doesn't necessarily have a big following globally. And historically speaking, like mead may have been the drink of choice for specific cultures, but just with the general consumer base today, it's pretty straightforward. And there's always different trends that occur, but I think like beer, wine, and the like big four spirits are the ones that are going to dominate for the next 20 or 30, 100. I don't know. I don't actually know.
Talk to me about seltzers. What's the big seltzers? Are everywhere. Where did it come from? How did it happen?
I did not start a fucking vodka soda company when I was 20 or when I was 19 or 18 before this all like took over, and it's the only thing that anybody drinks.
Yeah. Where did that come from? What was the...
Essentially, we're super fucking lazy as a society, and we would rather have a pre-made vodka soda or pre-made seltzer beverage that comes in a 6-pack can that you can just crack and drink, rather than buying a 2-liter soda for $3 and a 2.6 of vodka for $22 that you could stretch out over like 14 or 15 drinks, right? Like, and that's not the actual reason. It's just a successful product that people liked. They're very refreshing. They're lighter than beer. They're less sugar than wine. They're very easily stored in cans. You can fucking like put a big discount on them because what's the actual cost of the product? It's fucking soda and vodka. Yeah. Right. So it's successful for lots of reasons, but it sucks.
Not a fan.
Yeah, that's a lot. Like I was drinking tequila sodas last night that my buddy brought over, and they were really good. Yeah. But then I jumped into this apricot wheat ale that Fieldhouse Brewing just dropped. They're an amazing brewery in Vancouver. And I tasted it and I was like, oh, this is fucking awesome. This is so good. It has like this rich, deep flavor to it. It's fruit forward, but it's balanced. It has some citrus characteristic. It was so much more of a beer, like of a beverage where you could sit there and think about it and enjoy it, rather than I think the convenience and simplicity of vodka sodas or seltzers make it so that I can just crush 9 of these and I don't have to think about it. And the hangover is not going to be that bad. Whereas if you crush 9 craft beers, you're going to fucking hurt the next day. Like it hops and malt and barley are much more difficult for your body to break down than bubbles and vodka.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's I fucking love any apricot beer. if I see that on the menu,
Oh hell yeah!
I'll go for that.
It's so good. Like some of the some fruited styles are amazing, especially in like springtime and summertime. Yeah. Booze is dope. Alcohol is awesome.
Yeah.
What do you guys drink?
Gin tonics, and that's about
G&T for the
G&Ts.
kid. All right.
And I'll take a shot of tequila every once in a while.
Actually, you bought that really nice bottle of gin
I did.
a couple of years ago.
Still have it, pretty sure.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. I like craft beer. I like Stella.
Yes. Nice. Classic.
Stella Etoile.
Stella on tap is good.
Yep.
Yeah. My one friend, he really likes that, so he kind of converted me to that. I like that.
Yeah.
But I also I like Scotch. Like I like my girlfriend's dad drinks Scotch, and I'm lucky both my grandparents are alive. My one grandpa, he's a Scotch. Well, actually, I think both of them drink Scotch, but I associate one with drinking more Scotch more. But so it's kind of fun to drink with them and
Oh hell yeah.
kind of listen to old people talk, right?
Yeah, dude, it's the best.
Pass on the wisdom.
I was really fortunate that my dad was not necessarily a whiskey nerd, but he had a little bit of a Scotch collection, so I got to start drinking some cool stuff when I was like 16.
Yeah.
And I got a good base underneath, right? That lots of people don't get into Scotch till they're 30.
Yeah. My first experience with Scotch was this one guy, he'd host parties in high school, and our one friend, he's like, oh yeah, I brought these 2 bottles of Scotch. Yeah, like my parents said, like, oh yeah, here you go. Like, we're never gonna drink this. Like,
Yeah.
we don't drink Scotch. And then so it's like, yeah, here you go. And then I was like, oh yeah, man, free booze. This is sick. It's like, we're gonna get fucked. And then I poured myself like a full glass, like not knowing what Scotch was.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I must have been like 17 or 18 at the time. And then I take like a big thing, and I'm like, oh, what the fuck?
It just burns.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
just
like,
it's
oh,
like an
this is
oil drip in your mouth.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just like, man, we can't even drink this. Like, this is awful.
Somebody get a bunch of Sprite.
Yeah.
I need some milk.
Milk is a bad choice. with Scotch.
And then, but eventually, I really I was like on this like wine tour, and this one, I can't remember where it was, but I remember being on this wine tour, and one guy, they had brandy like at the thing, and he like taught us how to taste brandy.
Cool.
And I felt like that
Big cognac glass.
yeah, big cognac
Fuck yeah,
glass.
dude.
Yeah.
You feel like a villain in a James Bond movie.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
kind of cool because it's like, because he teaches you like you kind of like push it in between your teeth, kind of like learning how to taste like water.
Yeah.
Liquor is kind of interesting.
Oh yeah.
Because it kind of like opens up this whole new like thing about
Realm.
yourself. Yeah, so because you're like exploring your palate, right?
Yeah.
And so he taught me how to do that, and then I kind of learned how to from that same trip, I learned how to drink like whiskey and Scotch as well too. And it's interesting because like on the what do they call it? The nose, right?
Yeah.
There's like the nose, the
Palate.
palate,
yeah.
and then what's the
Finish.
and the finish. Yeah. So that I find that really cool because it's like for especially like if it's good,
Yeah.
you're getting kind of like it's like the Willy Wonka bubble gum where there's like 3 meals in one.
Yeah.
And that's what it's like with it's like when you get it right, you're gonna and you taste it right, you're gonna have 3 meals in a sip of
Yes.
Scotch. You're gonna hit it on the tongue, and then it's like kind of like it's like the tip of the tongue,
Oh,
like
yeah.
that base layer, and then the back of the mouth, right? And then when you breathe over the tongue, it's like this whole new thing as well too.
I think as we get older, you start to engage with things a little bit more like actively, right? You can sit down and listen to a song and really like dig into it and understand the layers of the bass or the vocals, and you can really start to understand like, oh, that's why I like this. Versus when you're a kid, things just like come at you. It's more like a passive engagement with the world. Where when you really sit down and you like drill into like technical tasting, it's so fucking cool.
Yeah.
To like really think about what you're drinking and trying to pick apart the different compounds and notes to it, right? Like things in nature smell and taste a specific way because of the chemical structure of what the fruit is or what the Wood is, and some of those compounds will exist within Scotch when you go to smell it, or within wine. They're the same compound, and you can be like, this does smell like fucking maple syrup drizzled pancakes with a little bit of butter melting on top. And then it tastes like charred wood and like marshmallows at a campfire and burnt match or something like that. There's this like deep layers that if you take the time and try to really appreciate it, you can dig into it. But it takes that like, I'm going to take this a little bit more seriously.
Yeah, it takes an initiation. You kind of have to be taught, or sometimes you don't have to be taught. But
no, even like if you hear a wine nerd just like smell something, they're like black cherry and plum and dark raspberry and black currant, as well as eucalyptus and violet, and they're just listing off all these notes. Yeah, they're pulling it out of the glass, but they're also pulling it out of years and years of repetition.
Yeah. Because it's like you're noticing. It's like you're taking one glass of wine and remembering and being like, oh, it's like that flavor.
Totally.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a very sensory. It can be a very sensory experience.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Which is cool. Yeah, and I think that as well too. It's like you're not drinking to get fucked up. You're drinking to like get kind of a buzz, but also like kind of enjoy this sensory experience kind of thing.
And I think you can kind of have a bit of both, to be totally honest. I think wine nerds, me being one, like I can say you take it too seriously and you kind of turn people off from it, especially if they are new and they don't understand what you're doing. And you take this glass of wine.
It can be overwhelming.
Regularly, you would see somebody, have a sip and put it down. And then this fucking pompous asshole walks in and they're examining it and they're swirling it around and then they're smelling it and they're swishing it around in their mouth and they're thinking about it. You're like, you take yourself so seriously, man, like whatever. But I always think about, say, if you were an NFL coach or even if you're a high school football coach, like if you spend the 8 hours watching film, there's a good chance you're going to beat that other team or you're going to be better than them because you took it seriously, right? It's just finding that thing, or not even one thing. It's finding things in your life where you're like, I'm passionate about this. I want to understand more about it. I can get out of my own way and not be like, oh, that guy is, he's just a douchebag. No, it's like you take something seriously and you care about it and you want it to be accurate. So wine people get really frustrated with newbies.
Yeah.
But it's not the right way to go about it, and it alienates people from the world of like cool alcohol where I just want a fucking seltzer, right? I don't care about that.
Yeah. yeah. But it's like, oh no, like hold my hand, I'll guide you through.
Yeah, so
that's
like that's my job. Yeah. Literally my job is to like, I want you to go home from the store with something cool that you're going to enjoy, and hopefully it's come from a producer that actually loves what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not just a massive brand that's trying to carve out their margin every 6 months. Yeah.
Them quarterly returns, baby.
Yeah, seriously. But hey, we all gotta make money, right? That's the name of the game in this system.
Yeah.
Is it all right if I take this off for like?
Yeah, sure. 1 second. Yeah, I was gonna say my.
Sorry.
You doing okay?
Yeah, I'm just so hot right now. It's actually getting to me a little bit.
You're fucking solid 10, buddy.
I know.
You want some more agua?
Yeah, please.
You're like Hansel. He's so hot right now.
Oh, that Hansel is so hot right now. Yeah, I was gonna say my one friend was. My one friend was telling me this story of like a coworker, and they had what do they call that? Like a stand-up meeting at the beginning of the day.
Sure.
And then they stood up and they were just like, and it's like, oh, like tell me how you are or something a day, like today or something like that. That was like the first thing they had to do. It's just like, well, every day I wake up and sigh, or what did she say? She said, every day I wake up frustrated that I have to slave away under the system of capitalism or something like that.
Yeah, it's
we're all living in it, baby.
Well, yeah, I think that's the easy way to think about it, right?
Yeah,
It's like this sucks.
Yeah.
I have to pay my bills. I
Yeah.
have to be responsible for my stuff. And maybe one day I'm financially responsible
stress.
for other people, which is probably like a terrifying thing, but you know, part of that, like, only good things come when you put the work in, right? I don't want to say it's like lazy people that have that opinion. I think we all do from time to time.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck, I do not want to go to work today.
Yeah, this
Tired.
sucks. Yeah.
It's the same thing over and over again. Or like that monthly bill comes, your phone bill comes, and you're just like, this is fucking stupid.
Yeah.
But I think it's better than waiting in bread lines or having, you know, some warlord or dictator tell you what you have to do and where you have to go, and
100%. I
not a perfect system, but one of the better ones.
Yeah.
and maybe the best that we have.
yeah. Oh, yeah. The best based on what's gone down so far by far.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
fuck, I would love to be a king. Don't
Yeah,
get me
man.
wrong.
Yeah.
Have a court jester and everybody listens to the shit that you
Yeah,
think.
but everybody wants to be that.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And you can hear it in people's voices when they say stuff like, this capitalist system is silly. And it's like, I think you actually think if it was in your hands, you would be better.
Yeah.
And that's a more like selfish way of looking at the world than it is like, we're all in this together and we built something that actually kind of functions.
Yeah.
Let's not fucking rip it down.
Yeah. Yeah. I 100% agree. And yeah. And then as well too is like that's like the tough part about socialism is that like it goes from it sounds
We're all in
great,
it together,
man.
and
Yeah.
we're all going to work towards a goal.
It sounds great, but then what actually happens is that the people who can speak better, they get
More
to be
things.
first in line. Yeah. And instead of it's instead of like based on work, which, you know, like capitalism's not necessarily totally great at like fighting, and there's a lot of inequalities in it, but it's like instead of like there being a structure for you to rise through, like for you to climb through what do they call it, like the socioeconomic
ladder.
hierarchy, right? Instead of that being a pathway, it's like, nope, you're born in the caste system.
Totally.
That's how it is. And it's like, yeah, like that would suck, man. Like I want I think it's, how fucking shitty would that be if you had like the future that you look at, it's like, it's just going to be the same.
Yeah. There is no chance for the system to change. There is no ability for mobility.
Yeah. There's not, it's like, oh, I'm not a part of that, so I don't get to be a part of that. That's a shitty feeling.
Yeah. And like the system isn't perfect, right? The last 20 or 30 years, I think wealth discrepancy has increased a lot, right? Like money is kind of being concentrated towards the top of the economy. Middle class is shrinking. Poorer people are becoming more common, which it sucks to see.
Yeah.
But it's like society's responsibility to fix those issues.
Yeah.
I don't know if like a progressive tax structure is the right way. I don't think it is, because you don't want to limit someone's ability to go and make money.
Yeah.
But at the same time, our government, I believe, exists to provide service, to provide healthcare, and to be that like body in which, you know, you don't necessarily want a private company controlling the roads or controlling healthcare, but at the same time, if everybody owned their own company, and like that's a silly analogy to make, but I think what I'm trying to say is you still have opportunity and ability to make your own choice, right? Like I love my job and what I do, but at the same time, I know I can change something if I hated it.
Yeah.
Right. I think people get stuck in ruts and think that their life has to stay the same, and they blame the system for it, versus taking that like ownership and saying like, I'm an individual with capabilities to do things for myself.
Yeah.
And maybe making your own situation a little bit better.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. It's like the autonomy thing. Yeah. Like, it's like what we were talking about with the climate change thing. It's like there's a lot of pointing. It's like you're wrong.
Yeah,
You're doing it.
We think
you fucked it
China
all up.
emits more and India emits more.
Yeah, but it's like, okay, like what are you doing wrong? Like what am I doing wrong? What are some things that I could be doing better right now?
100%.
Yeah, and then life becomes a bit more balanced, I think.
Yeah, seriously. When you take that like step of
Okay.
of saying like I'm in control of the things I can control.
Yeah.
Right. I think you've been doing a great job in the last couple months of saying like I need to spend more time doing X instead of doing Y, because at the end of the day, the way you do spend your time is the way you're gonna feel. Yeah. I know when I sit all day on the couch and watch TV and don't go outside and don't talk to my friends or my family, that I feel like shit. If I do that for a week, I feel depressed. Yeah. Right. So, and then,
but it's easy to do. It's easy to sabotage yourself.
When I'm in that depression or whatever it is, that sad feeling, I'm like, this system sucks and I have to go to work and nobody's nice to me. And where's my invitation to this and this and that and the other thing? But then when I text somebody and I say, hey, do you want to hang out?
Sure.
And we go and hang out and I'm active and I go and do it. It's like, oh, life is fun. Yeah. This is a good time.
Instantly, I feel better.
Wait a second. So it was just me being lazy.
Yeah.
And it's hard to acknowledge that. Yeah. It's really hard to acknowledge that because it's fucking infinite amount of TV to watch, infinite amount of YouTube videos to watch.
Yeah. We live a world of infinite distractions.
Yeah. So you got to spend time on yourself.
Yeah. Figuring out what's valuable to you.
Yeah. And I say that like I know what I'm talking about, and we're all just fucking fumbling through and figuring it out. That's the name of the game. But I think it is important to recognize like the way you feel internally is often a representation of the way you behave externally.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. Because we all, even the person who they say they got it all figured out, we're just all like.
I'm sure sometimes like LeBron James is sitting at home like, I've played in this league for fucking 18 years and these kids don't know what the fuck they're doing. Like, I have to go teach these kids how to fucking not J.R. Smith to fucking not call a timeout in the middle of the game, right? But you can see when he's fucking in the game, like, I'm going to go win and I'm going to go make it the best for my team.
Yeah.
You have to go fucking do shit.
Yeah.
It's easy to say that the external things are the thing that's holding you back. And in a lot of cases, I don't want to say you can pull yourself up by your bootstraps all the time. I think, if you're born to poor parents and you're maybe born with a lower IQ and things like that, you have hurdles to fucking jump through. But there are people out there that maybe aren't very intelligent that have made their way and crushed it in life, literally. Like, being smart is one thing, but being like hardworking and being like a good person is I think a lot more important.
Yeah, they're not synonymous all the time.
Seriously.
Yeah, for sure. Nice little pause.
Take 5.
This feeling is giving me a fucking migraine.
Oh,
the numbing just wore off, and I like moved my jaw, and it just like, ow,
all stiff.
Yeah.
Oh, brutal.
Somebody took a drill to your tooth.
Pretty much.
Fucking hurts.
It sucked.
That is brutal. So what do you think about the world? Do you think that
currently?
Yeah. What's your take?
I think we have too much information, right? So we have analysis paralysis, right? It's very difficult to rationalize whether things are good or bad. But I don't necessarily think that's a new or a novel thing. I think people who lived without media and without social media and inundation of like stupid news articles and Snapchat stories and Instagram reels and shit just coming at you all the time. Lots of people used to have no information. So it was like, what the fuck is actually going on? We don't know. And you could maybe zone in a little bit more on your like local life. Whereas we're forced to focus on like the global scale of things. Whether it's like the war in Ukraine or the impending financial collapse or environmental disaster, things like that. There are these existential worries that get into people's heads and stop them from being able to effectively do things in their life. I think that's like one major thing that is unique about our time is that it's not lack of information, it's inundation of information, and you can't sort through is Joe Biden a good president? Because if you ask one person, they'll tell you he's the greatest thing you've ever seen, and if you ask another person, he's the devil and he's dumb and he's old. The truth probably lies somewhere in the middle. I think he's not a great president. I don't think Justin Trudeau is a great prime minister. But some people would look at me and tell me I'm an idiot because I think that.
Yeah.
Maybe that's been true throughout history, right? We hate this king and this king is a good king and all of that stuff. But maybe we make more of our situation than we need to, right? Like maybe with alcohol, it's been with us. With dogs, it's been with us. Family, friends, right? Like the things that actually matter are the things that should be the important things in your life, right? Your job, your finances, your family, your friends, your loved ones, your girlfriend, your wife,
your health,
your kids. Yeah, exactly. Those are the things that we should focus on, and we don't do it enough anymore. I think there's like this loss of like humanity. There's this loss of like human connection and things.
I saw, speaking of getting lost in headlines, I saw this thing. It's like the next pandemic will be loneliness.
Yeah. We Erik and I were talking before the podcast started about I think we're way worse at conversation than previous generations were.
The art of conversation. It's
exactly
lost.
Like if you can be hanging out with somebody and you can just pull out your phone and now the conversation is dead. Yeah. But you still have like shit going on in your brain. Yeah. And you get to control it. You get to jump from app to app. You get to watch what you want, versus in a conversation, it flows, it ebbs, it changes. So I think people back in the day, especially in the 50s, 60s-ish, were very, very hungry for entertainment because they had plenty of conversation in their real life. I think we're still hungry for entertainment today, but there's a huge reason why podcasts and conversational like audio is becoming one of the main ways people spend their time. It's because they don't get to have a sit down 3-hour long conversation where you're not interrupted by a phone or you're not interrupted by what's going on the TV, right? Everybody used to flock to the movies. Nobody goes to the movies anymore, really, right? Like, but nobody, the podcast didn't exist in the 60s in the long form that they do. Interviews kind of did, but they weren't the massive thing that like a 4-hour, 3-hour long podcast is. Yeah. I think humanity is hungry for legitimate, real, honest conversation, especially in North America, where we're just like, we're lost at the wheel. We don't know who's driving. And you just want to sit down with somebody and be like, hey man, do you feel the way I feel?
Yeah, literally.
Do you like, does it suck sometimes for you? But is it sometimes good for you too? Like,
yeah. Do you also not know what's going on? Because I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, 100%. And just to be able to do that and be like, oh, we're all fucking fumbling through it. We're all figuring it out.
Yeah.
This sucks for this guy, and that's great for that guy. You know, maybe the person who you think has it the best because they have lots of money, maybe their fucking wife is cheating on them or their kids hate them. And maybe the guy who you feel bad for because he doesn't have very much money or he drives a shitty car or whatever. Like, maybe he gets more joy out of that car.
Yeah, he's having the time of his life.
In your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's always more than meets the eye.
People are super, super interesting once you like crack the shell.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And once you get them talking. And everybody has a really unique story. And we kind of just want to like curate our own whatever we want to hear, right? Like the information silos or like you're caught within the right wing or the left wing, and that's the way you have to think about things. It's just such a silly way. Like philosophers and thinkers have been fucking working through these problems for thousands of years. And we literally like to go like, that guy has a MAGA hat, what a fucking idiot. Yeah. Or that person has pink hair, what a dumbass.
Yeah, it's like, no man, it's like that's a complicated human being right there. And it's just like, okay, nope, you're a fucking idiot. I hope you die. It's like, whoa, those are like if you look at the words you just came out of your mouth, it's like Man, that's like a pretty extreme thing
Well,
that you just said.
That's the
And
way
it's
that like individuals with bad intentions mobilize large groups of people.
Yeah.
Is by turning us against each other and saying like X group is bad because they're different, and this other group is good because they agree with what we think.
Yeah.
It's like,
And it's like, no, man, they're just humans.
if you were born in let's say like Australia, you would sound like an Australian. You would like fish and chips. You would, have a higher likelihood of being a surfer. All these like associations we have with that. If you were born in the 40s in Germany, there's probably a good chance you would have agreed with everybody.
Yeah.
With all of the fucking terrible shit that happened.
Oh yeah, man.
Right? But we think it's like a hard line, like you're bad and you're good. No, it's like good people can remove themselves from the fucking shit that's getting thrown at them and still be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I strongly believe that that's most people.
Yeah.
I think we've talked about this on here before, where it's like the people that you hear from are like the people who are, that's the smallest part of the bell curve, but they're the loudest kind of thing.
The extremists have the big, like the loudest voice.
Yeah, because they're the ones who want the change the most, right? But
Yeah.
most people are like, yeah, I just want
My
things to
family
be
to do
chill.
well.
Yeah.
I want my kids to be happy, and I want my business to be all right.
Yeah, yeah, full stop. And it's like, okay.
I don't want to watch a good movie on the weekends, or maybe have some fun every now and then.
Yeah.
We like to make things so complicated.
Yeah.
The Calgary Flames win a Stanley Cup. I will be content.
Yeah, you see that? Are you a hockey guy? Do you follow hockey?
Yeah, I
know you're a
played
CFL guy.
hockey when I was a kid. I love the Flames. I can't profess to be like a big hockey guy, but whenever the Flames are doing well, I'm fucking on board.
So Sutter got fired.
Treveling's gone.
Both of them.
Arena deal signed and locked.
I think so. I think they're at a principal agreement, but they have yet to. Well, maybe they have since then,
Yeah.
but I don't know if they've
Yeah.
completely signed on the dotted line yet.
Yeah. We'll see it.
Yeah.
I'll believe it when I see it.
If
When
those
they're building
shovels
it.
are in the ground,
Yeah.
I'm, reserving judgment.
Yeah.
My worry is that if this does fall through, there is like legitimate reason for the ownership to say, let's move.
Ooh.
Yeah, there is.
Where would they move, you think?
People are
Texas.
talking about Houston, so
Yeah.
which would suck so much.
It'd be the worst. It's such an economic driver for the city.
Yeah.
It's a
It's
awesome.
a huge cultural center
Oh, yeah.
for the for the city for sure.
There are people who will say like sports don't do anything for culture, and I think those individuals are just like so wrong. It's insane.
Yeah. It's like the Saddle Dome's like a church. It's like one of those mega churches.
Kind of.
Yeah,
Yeah. Seriously.
It's like a
I mean, humanity.
It's religion, man.
You want something to cheer for.
Yeah.
You want something to believe
100%.
in. And we've always gathered in like large groups to cheer for something, or to yell, or to like boo something.
Yeah.
And like with sports, it's an avenue where we can have this release of like our competitive nature and cheer and I hate the Oilers and blah blah blah.
Yeah, and not have to go to war.
Yeah, Gladiator's not going to lose his head.
Yeah.
Yeah, it scratches that itch.
Yeah.
That like I'm gonna fucking dominate. I'm gonna be the best. I'm gonna win. That exists.
Oh, yeah,
That's
man.
a real thing in people that we don't want to talk about a lot.
Oh yeah, man. You got to take the good with the bad when it comes to what's going on inside yourself. For sure. There's a lot.
I could say you're a good person if you remove yourself from the situation and you try and do the right thing.
Yeah.
But I also have respect for somebody who says, "Fuck that. I'm doing what makes my life better."
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, respect is maybe the wrong term, but admiration maybe, or an
Or
appreciation.
understanding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are the guys that fucking do shit.
Yeah.
those are the people that build things and create things and change things and make things happen, is when you have this undying belief in yourself.
There's this quote. It's like the people who are hardest to live with are often the ones you can't live without.
Yeah.
And I always take that whenever I'm like dealing with a difficult person.
Yeah.
Like, there's like tough people to find a way through with something on something. But it's like
100%.
those people are like usually like they're adding a lot of value in that friction.
I had two friends in high school specifically, and they were gym guys, and they like loved the gym, and they would work out all the time, and they probably had the wrong attitude towards fat people, right? But I was a little chubby, and they would tease me about it. Come first year university, I was so motivated to lose the weight, lose the little bit of chub that I had, that I lost like 40 or 50 pounds in a few years, or not, sorry, in a few months, in like 6 months. And while it was like me who did all the work, it was this like external motivation that, and they weren't mean or rude about it at all. It's like sometimes you tease your buddy for being short, or sometimes you tease your buddy for having glasses, or sometimes you tease your buddy for whatever, because that's what you do as people.
Yeah.
And I was like, I was grateful for not the
push,
not the bullying, but the like, fuck yeah, like you guys, and
there's fire in your belly.
They're still my friends to this day. And I think they're both really good people, but the friends who tell me like, oh yeah, Logan, it's okay if you order if you order $40 worth of skip the dishes and you stay home and don't take care of yourself. No,
you're not. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it's my friend that goes like, let's go to the fucking gym. Let's go do something. That's the guy that I want to have, the person who maybe makes my life more difficult, but
but it makes it better.
It's actually better in the long run. That like brutal honesty.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. And those are the people you want to surround yourself with.
Seriously. Yeah. There's few and far between.
It's tough, man.
Yeah.
It's tough. Conflict's tough.
Yeah. Well, and I think when you are honest with your friends, you give them an ability to be honest back.
Yeah.
Because if it's just that like surface level, maybe we go out and we do an activity and blah, blah, and we're buddies. Great. That's awesome. And that's how most relationships between human beings exist.
Yeah.
But there's also that like your inner circle, or the people that you really, really trust and know, that if they can be honest with you and you can be honest with the like words, it'll change your life.
Yeah, man. Makes life so much better. Yeah. I think it's like I think if you're able to unlock that skill set, your life becomes much richer.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're able to pull people in and talk with them and understand that person to a much deeper level than just like, me and Eric both like hockey.
Well, that's our thing. Yeah, that's like, it's such a thing that sports gets right. Like that asshole coach, he's better than the soft coach who says, it's okay, like, don't work hard during this drill. Don't worry about it, guys. We're doing okay. We're fine with the 500 record. You want to play for the guy who's like, we're going to go out there and we're going to win. We're going to work hard. We're going to do our job right. And I'm going to hold you accountable to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. And those are the teams that win. It's interesting. Yeah. Like what are they called? Pedagogy that's like the study of how someone teaches, or it's like your philosophy and your teaching style.
Yeah.
So that's interesting to look into. It's like because I think that bleeds over to like how you deal with maybe like younger people. Yeah. But even older people, or like how you deal with all people, I guess. Is literally like, how do you want to teach people? Or I would even imagine that would bleed into your like customer service as well too, a little bit, where it's like, okay, how do I want to I gotta quickly analyze who I'm dealing with, find out kind of where they're coming from, and then it's like, I gotta lead this person to maybe like try and match them with something that works for them.
Yeah, it's a combination between like, not education, but trying to teach somebody something and sales. Yeah. Which coaches don't necessarily have to have the sales thing, but they have to win.
But they gotta sell the team on a way to win kind of thing, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%. I think maybe some of the best salesmen are people that genuinely believe in what they're selling, and they still have that like fire and intensity in their eye, plus an ability to read people. Yeah, that's probably the guy who would just like crush it.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. Yeah. Yeah. Because there's power in that. There's power in belief.
Yeah. Well, dude, like confidence is, I'm not going to say everything, because hard work pays off, and being diligent and working is very, very important. But if you don't think that you can do it, or if you don't think you're the best at it, you never will be. Right?
You've defeated yourself on step one.
Yeah. Like self-belief is such a powerful, motivating thing. When you tell yourself, I'm going to do it tomorrow, you're not going to do it. right? I think it's I don't know if it's Jefferson or one of the founding fathers was like, do not put off what you can do today for tomorrow, because you won't do it. It's that like, fuck it, attack the day. I'm going to do what I need to do. Because if you don't, it's very easy to let that energy slip away. Yeah. And you can see people who like hammer for years. Yeah. You're like, oh, God damn it. Like that bodybuilder. It's like, even though he takes steroids or this, that, he's put in the work. Or that, politician. Holy shit. Like he worked really, really hard. He was super diligent. He's nice to everybody he comes in contact with. Yeah, you got to fucking hammer it every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Sweet.
Beautiful. So what does your summer look like? Any summer plans?
Nothing too crazy. A couple weddings to go to. A couple of bachelor party. Yeah, bachelor party. That's what you call before a wedding.
Yeah.
Yeah. A couple of those to hit up. I might try and make a little trip out to BC.
Cool.
I know Gianni and I were talking about doing little like Alberta adventures when we got days off. So just trying to go find a little lake or a little river or a little small town.
Yeah.
I think that'd be sweet.
Yeah. He'd be the guy to know for sure too,
100%.
like where to go.
Yeah. And we can use his car. So
nice. Beautiful. Double whammy.
Nothing too crazy. I'm more like, I'm focused on work right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Beautiful.
Bringing the tunes.
I thought I had it on mute. I usually have these alarms muted.
Okay. Any Stampede plans?
One of the bachelor parties will be, we're going to go golfing during the day and then hit the grounds at night.
Ooh.
But my birthday is always during Stampede. I'm born on July 6th.
Oh, so nice.
My parents tell the story of I was born and then the fireworks went off from the grandstand show they were at, I think Foothills Hospital down in the south. So it's in my blood, man. I'm like, when Pede rolls around, if I'm not there half the days, right, throughout, if I'm not there 5 out of 10, 4 out of 10, and I come out of the week with money in my bank account, it's not a good Stampede. Right? I'm fucking blowing it all. We're gonna go have time on the Midway. We're gonna hit a concert or two. Yeah. Ricky knows, man. We hit it last year, 2 years ago.
2 years ago. I think.
Had a great friggin' time, man.
Stampede is. It's a lot, but it's fun.
I think Calgary is like a hardworking city for 51 weeks out of the year.
Yeah.
That other week,
all the offices
shuts down, and we just let loose, man. It's awesome.
It's awesome. I like it. I know it can be polarizing for I think some some people I talk to, like some people don't like it, but I fucking love it.
I mean, I can understand that it's hot and sweaty and maybe smells bad. And, but
it's just fun,
dude,
man. It's people getting together, being cowboys.
Go have fun at Stampede, right? I know it's probably a money suck or whatever, but if you even like a backyard Stampede party, right?
Those are my favorite.
Lit. Yeah, it's a great time. The pre-games before going to the grounds is usually the best time.
I'm a big pancake breakfast guy.
Oh wow, am I excited for some pancakes?
Oh yeah. We're doing a pancakes and prosecco tasting at work.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and getting on that Stampede theme.
Oh, nice.
Like
yeah.
Which one? All three? What come to yours?
Yeah, just the university location.
Nice.
Yeah.
Rick and I will show up.
We'll be there.
We'll be there. And prosecco, baby.
You people, be out there.
Yeah.
Pancakes and prosecco.
Yeah, I'm not sure the exact date.
Yeah, we'll find it.
But if you do have weekends free, Thursdays and Saturdays we do run tastings at the shop. It's awesome. Super fun.
Thursdays and when?
Thursdays and Saturdays.
Okay.
Not too expensive. Some of them get a little pricey, but like the lower end ones are like $15 for an hour. You come in, drink a few wines, learn a thing or two. Hopefully, just enjoy yourself.
$15 is a good deal.
Yeah, 15.
1.5. I know 1.5. Yeah, I was just saying.
Yeah.
That's a real.
That's like deal. Entry to Stampede.
Yeah, literally. That's a steal of a deal.
Yep.
Beauty.
Hell yeah.
Nice. And then okay. So what part of the city do you live in?
Just moved. I guess not just. We moved to the northeast in September.
Okay, nice.
So Greenview is what the little community is called, corner of McKnight and Edmonton Trail.
Okay, yeah.
Tiny little community. It's actually really nice.
Yeah.
Lots of bungalows, like old school kind of Calgary feel to it.
Yes.
I grew up in Hounsfield Heights, Briar Hill area, so super close to North Hill Mall.
Okay. Yeah.
Lived in that area for like 10 or 15 years. And then for like the first, I think, 8 or 10 years of my life, lived in Killarney in the Southwest, or Glendale, I should say.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so good old Calgary boy.
Yeah.
Born and raised.
Fucking love this city.
Fuck yeah.
The best city on earth.
It's a good place.
It's also the #1 city ranked in North America by The Economist.
Oh,
Shout out Economist. Please sponsor us.
liberal shills. No, just kidding.
Yeah. No. I'm a liberal except when I'm drinking from my paper straw. Just leaves my body.
Yeah.
Um,
You guys, you're born and raised.
Born and raised, yep.
You?
mhm. Yeah.
Good people in this city, man.
Mhm. It's awesome. It's a good place. It's a good place. That's what we're trying to showcase, all the cool people who live here.
Yeah, exactly.
Hell yeah.
Fuck yeah. Well, Smitty. Can I call you Smitty?
No.
Oh.
No, yeah, of course you can.
I think we'll wrap it there.
Yeah, man, this was a great time.
Thank
This
you so
was
much
awesome.
for coming on. We
Thanks for having me.
sincerely appreciate it.
Thanks
Yeah,
for
it's awesome.
thanks for making it happen. This was a great time.
Is there anything you want to plug before we wrap
No,
up?
I already got that little tasting thing in for
Perfect.
Market Wines.
Thursdays and Saturdays.
Thursdays and
Thursdays
Saturdays.
and Saturdays. Also, just come in if you want to learn something about wine. It's
Yeah.
like it's such a cool company. We always have different stuff open on the tasting bar. That's a pretty unique part of our store.
Nice.
Most places you walk in and maybe someone will just try and sell you something, whereas we'll always have something open for you to try, and we'll give you a little rundown on what makes it special and
Cool.
try and like not guide, but like allow you to find something that you'll like.
So for the people out there, ask for Smitty.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. All right. Well, thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
And it's been really fun. And it's been very insightful. And I'm
Flew
excited.
by, man. 2 hours.
Yeah, I know. Beauty.
Yeah.
And we'll have to follow up in the future. See where.
Oh, I'd love to do this again.
He'll be
Yeah,
back on.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. We're looking to bring on reoccurring guests. So,
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get a series going.
Fuck yeah. I'd love that.
The
Sweet.
Smitty series.
Well, thank you guys. This was great.
Yeah,
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Dappa-doo, 2 white guys in a wheelchair.